So welcome to Healing the Lights and Colors, first class, and we start the spiritual healing from the upcoming Parashat, and it's going to be Parashat Vayislach, and there's so many things that lends itself to spiritual healing in Parashat Vayislach, and I thought first to do a whole big thing on Yaakov's struggle with the angel of Esav, which was certainly like a spiritual warfare, and what we could learn about that, from that, about facing inner and outer enemies. But I decided there was just too much. You could write a whole book just on that. So I decided to focus on the little jugs that Yaakov went back to retrieve, the ones that he had forgotten. And so even in that topic, there's so much to glean. And so let's see what we came up with. First, I wanted to just start by sharing that I have 5 different garbage bins, but really I have 6 if you count the bin next to my chicken coop with all the bottles that could be returned to the store and get a 30 Yaakov credit from Rami Levi. But I have a glass garbage, a glass bottle garbage, a plastic bottle garbage, a box garbage, chicken food garbage, that's organic waste, plus I have that later becomes to really good compost, and then I have the regular garbage, which we hope to minimize to be the smallest of all the different garbages. So why do I go into so much effort for all this recycling? Okay, we know that it's a mitzvah, and it says, "V'nishmartem." No, I'm sorry. It says, "Is a man, is a tree a man that you could just cut down needlessly?" And from here in Parashat Shoftim, we learn that you're not allowed, just like you're not allowed to cut down a fruit tree, you're not allowed to waste anything, any material at all, anything that must be used for its highest purpose. But there's more to it. And that's also why I take this mitzvah of recycling so serious, that there's a spiritual dimension to it. It's not only to avoid waste. Basically, we believe that everything material, like you write, Chana Fury, as above, so below, as below, so above. I forget, it goes both ways. How do you write it?
It was so long ago, I put it on my email tag, but as below, so above.
Yeah, as below, so above. So thank you. So that is about what is below it, all these things that maybe we have no immediate use for them and we're recycling them, but they are imbued with sparks above. And so just like we have a mitzvah to take care of our body, we must also treat our possessions with care, because part of our soul is invested in them. And I wanted even to say that, like everything that belongs to a person, it becomes part, the longer we have it, the more it happens, but becomes part of our extended body, like a body to our body. There's part of our soul sparks that infuse not only our body, but go out and infuse the things that belong to us, and especially like jewelry or clothes that we wear, that you really can feel it. That's like the next layer. If you think about the onion ring, or first you have the different layers of the soul, which is already 5 layers, and then you have the body, and then you have the garments, and then you have all the other things that you own. And so part of your soul is shining through it, and they have all sparks that you are charged with elevating, because that's why they came through your hands. So that's why we can't just like deal with them carelessly and just throw them all in one garbage like some people do. Even poor people will throw out bottles worth 30 akorot, more and more and more. And the truth is, it's a known thing that secret to not be poor is to really be careful with the resources that Hashem gave us. And, if you think you have 100 bottles, you have 30 shekels is not so much. But if you keep living your life that way and you're careful, it accumulates in not only in the bottles, but in many other ways. So this leads us to this week's Parsha, where it says that our father Yaakov, on his way to confront Esav, he was left alone because he had to go back by himself in order to retrieve some small flask which he had forgotten. That's Rashi's explanation on chapter 32 in Bereshit, verse 25. But all the commentaries are puzzled about how Yaakov would risk his life for the sake of retrieving some apparently worthless jugs. What was so special about these jugs for which Yaakov endangered himself? And what kind of principle of spiritual healing can we learn from this? And this is how the pasuk actually goes. Yaakov was left alone, and the man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. And so that's what Rashi says. He had forgotten small bottles and returned for them. Okay. So now we still have a lot of questions because it talks this, this Rashi, the source of this Rashi is in the Babylonian Talmud Chulin, where it says, we learn that the possessions of the righteous are dearer to them than their bodies. So that I'm having a really hard time with. Okay, I can understand they don't want to, they want to be careful with their possessions. They don't want to waste. They want to elevate the sparks, but the body, why would the possessions be more important than the body? I know that I always feel if something dear to me breaks or gets lost, what do I say? Oh, it's a kapara. Baruch Hashem, it's an atonement. And this way, hopefully nothing will happen to my body. I'll stay healthy. It's better to lose dead things, possessions, than to get the body injured. So what does it mean in the Gemara that it says that the possessions are more dear than the body to the righteous? That's really strange. And why would the righteous endanger their life to retrieve seemingly worthless trifles? That we also have a mitzvah of pikuach nefesh, saving lives, which is like saving the body. Doesn't that override every other mitzvah? Okay, so I've been mulling a lot on this question, and perhaps we can explain that there is a difference between being careless and wasteful and losing something without any negligence on our part. For example, I noticed a while back that my diamond had fallen out of the, what do you call it? The case of the ring. It's called something. The setting, right? I just one day I looked at my ring and look, there was like a big expensive diamond worth a lot, and it was gone, and it was no fault of mine. You know, I was not negligent in any way. So I knew there's no more sparks for me to elevate in that piece of jewelry. It's finished for me. And I accepted it. That's what it was. So you see the difference between being careless or like Hashem. Hashem is like saying, okay, you don't need this anymore. You're done with it. And then there is another part of the Gemara of Chulin that makes me giving me even a harder time digesting, which is the Gemara asks, why would the righteous person be the Gemara asks, why are the possessions of the righteous so important to them? And then the Gemara answers, because they do not stretch out their hands to partake of stolen property. So what? I'm like, I can't really imagine a tzaddik as a masked bank robber or even stealing as much as a paperclip from a department store. What is this about, not stealing? So according to the Arizal, whatever money and possession we receive is only from Hashem's heavenly influence. So every physical item emanates from the upper divine realm. That's why the righteous, the tzaddikim, are very careful not to disrespect them. But it still doesn't answer why the possessions are more important than the body. And my husband explained, and I still didn't get the source in the Zohar of Sabbat de Mishpatim, that whereas the body is really vital, but only in this lifetime, right? When we finish this lifetime, the body goes back to dust where it came from. The soul continues, but not the body. Yet the possessions that Hashem grants us, they also hold importance for future reincarnations. We continue to have a connection with them even after our body is gone. And I'll illustrate that with the following example. A friend told me that soon after her father's passing, he came to her in a dream and asked her to pay a monetary debt he incurred to a certain person during his lifetime. Sure enough, what happened is that particular person, exactly that person, passed by the following day, and my friend was able to carry out her father's bidding, and in this way, she was able to spare her father from returning in another reincarnation, just to pay back his debt. So this is one example, because it talks about that in numerous sources, that if a person leaves this world without finished paying his debt, he has to come back for it. So in that way, the possessions continue to have an influence over his life, even in the upcoming, even in future reincarnation. But what about the thing about being careful with our possessions in order to avoid stealing? So I thought about that too. We all receive a certain amount of divine heavenly influence dished out exactly in accordance with our mission on earth. Encoded within our portion in life is our assignment of how to use it righteously. So one way is we have to give 10% maaser, tithes of our income. But if we're wasteful with our God-given resources, we may become short of giving to every cause that we're supposed to give to. Or perhaps, if we don't take care of our belongings, we would need to use more resources to replace lost and damaged objects, and then we'll have less to share. So this may cause some people to be unable to repay a debt, and these kind of examples could be called for the righteous person a kind of theft, a kind of stealing. So understanding how there are spiritual sparks in everything that a person owns, it also explains why there's a spiritual value in receiving something that a tzaddik, a holy person, has used. There's many stories like that of someone wearing a strimal or putting on a gartel, a belt of a tzaddik, and how he felt heavenly insistence. And actually, the source of that is in a Yerushalmi Talmud. It was there asked the unlearned person how he gained some unexpected wisdom, and he answered, Rabbi Meir's walking stick was in my hand, and it teaches me knowledge. And so some people are actually making a lot of money on such items. And when I was Googling, I found that the wand that the Papa Sali, the Holy Papa Sali, had used during study and prayer was sold, was an auction, was sold for $24,800. Okay. So going back to the jug that Yaakov retrieved, we can now understand also that there was holy spark in this jug. And this jug was not a simple jug. It had a lot of reincarnations. It was the first oil that Noah pressed in a renewed world. And it was passed hands to Abraham, Yitzchak, and then Yaakov found it. And it says it in Yalkut Reuveni, when he was waking up from the dream that he dreamt in Parashat Vayislach. And then there was he had this rock, and he made a monument of it, the rock that he had slept on. At first was 12 rocks, but it became one rock, and he made from it a monument. And then in that rock, he found a jug of oil, and then he anointed that rock. And then he realized this is a special oil, and he foresaw in the future that the Mishkan and all the vessels of the Mishkan tabernacle would be anointed with this oil. And also all the Kohanim and the Levites would be anointed with this oil. And so would the king. And he also foresaw that this was the oil that Eliyahu blessed for the Tzarfati woman in the book of Kings. And later, it was also the oil that Elisha blessed. That was the little oil that Ovadiah's wife, the wife of the prophet, we just read it in a Haftarah last week, had, that it should continue. And it kept refilling itself, even when Yaakov first found it. I forgot to say that. That's when it refilled itself. And when it refilled itself, he had this vision, and he realized it. And in another commentary, Megale Amukot says, this is the oil that made the Hanukkah miracle. That remained lighting for 8 days, when it really was only enough for one. So all this Yaakov understood. So now we understand a little bit better why it was worthwhile for Yaakov to even risk his life for this special jug of oil. So now I would like to do with you an EmunaHealing exercise to get in touch with the spiritual sparks infused in the material. So right now, if you have something materially that you want to get, like bring one of your precious possessions close to you. Or if you're wearing it, that will be easier. It could be a piece of jewelry that you already are wearing, or that you put on just now for this exercise, or a piece of garment, or a picture, or anything that you love. Make yourself comfortable and breathe deeply. Inhale through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth until you experience an inner stillness and a feeling of peace surround you. Without opening your eyes, envision your precious possession. And if you didn't bring it close to you, you can just envision it now. And breathe in its energy. Is it calming or invigorating? Is it challenging or supportive? Allow yourself to tap into the spiritual energy field of your piece of possession. Tune into how you acquired this item. If you bought it yourself, recall the hard work you invested in earning the money to purchase it. Perhaps it was a gift from a dear person. Visualize the person who gave it to you and your relationship with him or her. Which feelings did this gift elicit within you? What sentimental value do you attribute to your favorite item? Why is it so valued by you? Touch the outline of your precious possession. Is it great or small? How does it feel? Is it smooth or does it have sharp edges? Why did you receive or purchase this favorite item? Why do you need it? And why was it destined to belong to you? If your precious possession could speak to you, what would it say? Open your deeper perception to hear how it would answer the questions above. Allow yourself to feel grateful to Hashem for your possession, knowing how it is imbued with spiritual sparks specifically designed for your benefit and to elevate and be elevated by. Give your favorite item a hug. Let it go in your mind's eyes. Open your eyes and allow them to focus now on the reality around you.